Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday study immersion show of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the Srimad Bhagavatam show for your pleasure and edification. Good morning, Kaustubha.
Good morning, Raghunath.
Sleep in Thursday.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. Rolling around in bed, flicking through the computer, getting a
did a little bit. Honestly, I did a little bit of that.
Getting a dosa, getting some
Dosa?
upma.
No.
I drove. I got home at 1 o'clock last night. I picked up my son who flew in from Alachua.
Okay, Alachua,
And
Florida.
He's hanging out this weekend. So excited to see him.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a nice kid. Sometimes the kids come out horrible and sometimes they come out nice. This one's nice.
That's
This
good.
one's
Good for
really,
you.
he's me and
for
Tarun,
him.
who's 9 years old, was like, please, Dad, let me go to the airport. I was like, all right, you and me.
Oh, so Tarun went with you so late.
Yeah, we went up, we stayed up.
That means he misses his brother.
He really misses his brother. But I tell you, and when I kid you not, this happened. So he's like, yeah. I was like, well, you have nothing on you. What are you carrying? He's like, just nothing, just the clothes on my back and a few other things and a Bhagavad Gita. I go,
Hold it. Before you, there you go.
did you hear that?
Yeah. No, go say it again.
He's got nothing in his backpack except the Bhagavad Gita. I was like, you're carrying a Bhagavad Gita? He goes, yeah, I've been reading the Bhagavad Gita. I'm really listening to the Mahabharata all the time. I was like, you're kidding. He's like, yeah, it's great.
You're kidding.
We just had and then me and Tarun have been reading and Mara have been reading the Mahabharata. So it's like we had this big Mahabharata thing in the car.
Hey, I got news for you.
What?
Hopefully before the end of the year, Mandala is publishing part 1 of an 8-part series of Hridayananda Maharaj's Mahabharata.
Oh, you're kidding.
Finally, like after all these years,
We've been talking about that for 30 years, the H.D. Goswami Mahabharata.
Because like unpublished sections of it were
floating
around like a long time, and they're so good.
I had one. I had the very
Adi
first.
Parva.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Awesome.
It's very, very detailed.
And the thing is, he's done so much research into Mahabharata that he's found that Madhvacharya, in his commentaries on Mahabharata, he says that it's actually a corrupted text, in the sense that, like every state in India is like a different, as history
slightly
came
different
down
versions.
So it's hard to kind of
tie these together in an authoritative way.
Now the Bhagavad Gita is another thing. Although the Bhagavad Gita is within the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita is consistent. All the different presentations of it are solid.
You know what's great about Vedic culture is if they say it's corrupted, it's corrupted. And if they say it's like, no, this is not corrupted, then you can accept like this is not corrupted. They'll tell you if it's corrupted.
They'll tell you if it's corrupted. So he's done a lot of research to, there's ways scholars try to pull that together and try to put together the most authentic presentation. Of course, he's lining it up with Bhagavatam as well and seeing where this, because Bhagavatam is not a corrupted text, right? Bhagavatam, there's not that issue with Bhagavatam. In any case, I'm looking forward to that coming out.
That's going to be great. It's going to be a great contribution.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting that this first generation of Prabhupada disciples who have become very scholarly, they're like translating books that have never been translated. Some of them, books that have sat
What are you
as if
talking about?
in code, right? As if in code, as if like a buried, basically buried treasures they're unearthing,
There he goes.
deciphering, and presenting for the benefit of humankind. It's quite
Beautiful.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've been sitting. You know what? We talked about this on the show before, but one of my favorite places in India is in near Madan Mohan Temple. There's like and these tombs look like almost like
Oh,
missiles.
you want to go back into this?
Yeah.
This is just your
You know
fascination.
where I'm going with this one. There is a thing called the Granta Samadhi.
We've spoken about this on the show, Raghunath.
We did. I'm going to bring it up again. You know why? Some people don't hear every show, and it probably was 1,400 episodes ago.
No.
So I'm going to bring it up again.
Granta
There's a
Samadhi,
thing
okay.
called, for treasure hunters out there, there's a thing called the Granta Samadhi. And the Granta Samadhi
There goes Tony.
is a tomb of books that the Goswamis translated.
No,
that
they wrote.
felt-
They didn't.
well,
books that they wrote.
They probably had it through their visions. They probably wrote it through their mystical visions and compiled. And it's all these esoteric, secret teachings of Krishna.
Too esoteric.
They felt it was like, humans can't read this. They're not they can't do it. It's too much for them. They will lose it. And so they put them in a tomb.
They will misunderstand it. They'll misunderstand it.
They'll misunderstand it. So they say, you know what? No, these are going in the tomb. Imagine that tomb. Imagine that tomb.
Leave it alone, Raghunath. Leave it alone.
What? It's time. It's time.
No, it's not time. It is not
books.
time.
Someone's got to do it.
Raghunath goes on a campaign. The time has
Let's
come.
open the tomb.
I had a dream.
I had a dream.
All right, let's keep this moving here. We got.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
It's fascinating.
I mean,
but there's certain things that you just say, you know what, I wouldn't understand it even if they did open it up. So what's the point?
Maybe we would understand. Maybe
if you are qualified to understand, Raghunath, it can all be revealed to you without opening up the tomb.
How do you know God hasn't told me in my heart to open?
I
that
know
tomb?
because He told me that He hasn't. Told you.
I'm gonna go there this trip. I'm gonna go to that secret tomb.
I went there.
Pray. I'm gonna pray to the tomb and say, "What would you like from me? I'm gonna
That's very
dig.
good.
I'll dig."
No.
Who's that American guy digging a hole next to the tomb?
And then you look over and you see a squirrel like digging into the ground. You're like, that's it. That's the sign.
There's a sign. God wants me to dig.
And then you get
Squirrel.
killed by all the locals.
Hit me with bamboo sticks.
No, I'm glad you brought this up, Raghunath, because actually a few years ago when I kind of started working on the book that I hope to kind of finish the first draft of before the end of the year, which I'm
You're going to be
next
like, it's
week
too esoteric.
leaving.
I can't write it.
No, but I prayed there at the Granta Samadhi and to Sanatana. And
That's cool. You prayed to the tomb.
So that you've brought that back up into my. I think I shared this on the show one time, but one time myself, Veerbhadra, and Janavi, we all had different prayers that we wanted to offer to in all the different temples in Vrindavan, and we spent like the better part of a day just visiting all these different places and praying and singing together. It was wonderful.
What a crew! You, Veerbhadra, and Janavi.
Yeah.
I wish I could be a little fly on the wall for that.
Next time, Bubba. Good
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take you on a Vrindavan archaeological excavation.
No, Raghunath, do not excavate.
Metal detector.
The books aren't written in metal.
You never know what you find, though.
Leaf detector.
Jewels, swords, crowns, deities.
Let it be. Right.
Anyway, sonar. We'll go sonar. See if there's deities.
They're
always unearthing deities.
Why don't we check in with
I follow these
Nara?
places on Instagram. I follow these sites on Instagram. They are always unearthing temples.
Okay.
It's still happening on a regular basis. Media suppresses this information.
Yes, the media is very concerned about holding that.
I've got channels that
it's the mainstream media.
They are, but they're it's real. It's like they're farming, and all of a sudden they find the head of a giant stone head of Nandi the bull, and they're like, okay, we can't farm now, and they go in and they excavate and they find the Shiva and they start
Yeah,
worshiping it
it's a
again.
long history.
Long history.
Okay,
Hey, what's
Mara,
up?
any
What's going on? We're
announcements?
about
There
to
we go.
have a big festival here at the farm.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming into town. Henry's coming into town today. Costuba's coming in today.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to
Uh,
it.
We have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today at 9 a.m. and noon. And then tomorrow is Cult of Cain.
Cult of
Josh Cain's
Cain.
asana
Cult of Cain.
class with for our Patreon members at 10:30 a.m.
Awesome.
We want to thank all our Patreon teachers. We got some great teachers. Sweet Mangala Chitra Devi, and Anu. I was joking around last week, and I sort of like said something disparaged about Anu's class. Anu is like a healer. This guy is great. If you've got physical ailments with the body, this guy knows how to deal with it. Because I teach one of these vigorous sort of like workout Jimmy.
You hurt people actually.
I hurt people. He heals people. So you've got like he's very good at putting the body back together, especially if you're suffering from going through something. He just knows how to like structurally align the body. So if you're going through something, check out Anu's class on Patreon. Just want to give a shout out to all he does, because sometimes in a mood of just screwing around, I say something. I was like, oh, I can't go to that class. It's boring. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's because like I can't concentrate on anything.
Okay. Speaking of you not being able to concentrate on anything, we have a nugget here, Raghunath, that we're meant to get to at some point.
Be nice.
Yeah. No, I am being nice.
Okay, here it is. This is our nuggets from Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Who was he, Raghunath?
Was Winston Churchill
Prime
prime minister? He was like some.
That's right. He was a prime minister. He was the prime minister of the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
Twice, actually, but most importantly during World War II.
No one names their kids Winston anymore.
Winston. No.
By the way, remember the other day when I joked that like people nowadays they name their kids like
River.
I said something like mulch, and then I quoted Murari Prema's kid. His name is River.
Yeah.
Then someone wrote in on the message board and said, "Yeah, that was funny. I couldn't stop laughing when you said mulch. My son's name is Root."
Root. Yeah.
Root. You're pretty good.
Okay. What did Winston have to say?
Sod.
And I want to hear this.
This
in
is
a
my
proper
daughter
Winston...
Sod. This is my daughter Sod.
Okay, we're gonna leave that behind now. We're gonna move on to that.
When there is no enemy
Hold on.
within.
Let's get a British accent here. Maybe something that sounds kind of like Alfred Hitchcock or
When
something.
there's no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. When there's no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you.
Okay.
That's
What
what
do
he
you think?
said right before sending everybody into battle. They're like, "Are you sure about that, Winston?" Because there's a bunch of guys with machine guns.
No, but I thought there's this, I don't know exactly what context he said this in.
Right.
When there's no, in other words, it may have been in a very, there's most likely in some kind of militaristic context, and he might have been saying, hey, we need to, there need to be no spies within, if we can manage to keep our intelligence protected, then enemies outside won't be able to hurt us. I don't know exactly.
I'm going right to a lot of our pain in existence deals with how we feel about ourselves and other people.
Okay, let's
a lot of
work on
my
that first.
pain in the day-to-day life. People have anxiety about other people, anxiety about situations that could happen, anxiety with what will I do with my future? How about this person? He's frustrated me for years. I'm carrying around this hurt with me for years, sometimes for decades. I was betrayed by this person. How can I get back at this person? When these type of hurt, pain, inner struggles still exist within the mind, there can't be any peace. When I hear people gossiping, what did somebody say on the message board, and just joking, but I take it very seriously. These are like the enemies within. You don't know them, you don't see them because they're not in front of my face. It's not like that guy who hurt me 10 years ago, or that girl that broke my heart last year or 4 years. They're not in my face. You don't see them, but I feel them on a regular basis, and they're becoming a filter for any new relationship I go through. No, I don't trust people. I don't trust relationships. I don't trust, teachers, professors, parental figures, gurus, I don't trust authority figures. I take these inner inner pain and carry it with me for the rest of my life unless I deal with it. So a lot of our work, sure, there's some major conflicts that we deal with on a regular basis, and then we say, nope, can't do that, can't become intoxicated, that's not, there's no good going to come from that, can't become addicted to substances, got to regulate our lifestyle, our diet. But actually we are goading people towards this inner healing that has to go on. And then after a while, once you're at peace with yourself, it doesn't matter if someone's like, yeah, Raghunath, that's stupid, I don't mind. You just, it says more about you than it says more about them than it says about you. You're not bothered by it.
Right.
Let the world hate you. Let the world love you. Let them praise you. Let them despise you. You're okay with it.
They call that samatvam, even-mindedness.
Samatvam.
Yeah, that's I like that, Raghunath. I was thinking of something else, but no, that's great, and it's very true. He probably was saying it on a level of statesmanship or military in a military context, but you're saying it, yeah, that like when we actually work out, the real enemy is the mind and the programming within the mind. It's within, and so when there are no enemies within, when your mind is free of all of its negative loops and all of its insecurities and all of its misconceptions, I need this to be happy, I need that to be happy, or this is who I am, that is who I am. If I identify with this body, then when a so-called enemy says something about my body, then I feel like I've been attacked. But if I don't identify with my body, I'm not being attacked.
Right.
And the same goes for my body, my family, my community, my nation, my race, my gender. It's like, if I don't identify with these things, I won't feel attacked,
Sure.
when they are apparently attacked or slighted in any way. So yeah, that's great. I was thinking of it.
We don't have to worry about body positivity or anything like that. Why?
No, spirit positivity.
We have spirit positivity. Exactly.
Yeah.
We've solved all the problems, haven't we?
Do we have to figure everything
out here? There's no more body positivity. Here's the solution. You're not the body.
Yeah.
Boom. Finished.
Take
Wrap that
care
up.
of it as best you can.
Get
Take
rid of
care
all
it as
those
best you can. Yeah.
videos on YouTube. It's finished now. We figured it out.
All right. Yeah. Spirit positivity. That's the real positivity, because it doesn't have the flaws of the body.
Inclusivity. Big problems? No, we got that figured out. We are all connected.
No,
Boom.
there you go.
Done.
Thank you, Raghunath. But I was thinking, actually, that relates to what I was saying. When there's no enemy within, then enemies outside cannot hurt you. What we're reading about now, and we're going to get into it deeper today, is Narada. He's got this unique reputation, and after we read the first verse, I'll break out some stuff about Narada. But like, Narada doesn't have any enemies.
Yep.
Not only does he not see others as enemies, but actually it's said that whether you're, like generally in the Puranic histories, in these tales, the demigods are at odds with the demons, the Asurs and the Surs. They're at odds with each other constantly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a constant tension between them, and sometimes the tension heats up into full-on battle. Narada is considered a deva, but he's also called like the Deva Rishi, or like he's like the sage amongst the devas, which means that he's like a deva, but without any of the attachments that the other devas have. Attachments to their power, attachment to their position, power to their comforts, attachment to their opulences. Narada's not like that. He's actually entirely detached, and it's said that he's as respected as much from the Asurs as he's respected by the Asurs, as much by the demons as by the, so he has no enemies, but only one person. It's crazy, because even the demons can respect Narada, but somehow Daksha can't. What the hell?
No. You can have no enemies, but that doesn't mean people, like saintly people, have no enemies. But that doesn't mean people won't hate them.
But again,
Jesus Christ had no enemies. Raghunath for Jesus. Ready? Here we go. Listen, Jesus Christ had no enemies. He didn't see the people that were killing Jesus.
But I'm saying,
he was like, I love you. It's good. You're going through your stuff. Yeah, you want to nail me to the cross? I'm okay with that. If that's what you need, I pray for you. Right?
I'm
Most
gonna read
people
you
would not
something,
be in
Reverend.
that position. But that doesn't mean people didn't want to kill him, because people are steeped in envy and animosity and personal hurt, and they're trying to find their footing of betterness.
I get that, but what I'm saying is that it's specifically mentioned.
What?
This is a translation. This is Canto 4, text 31, chapter 31, text 3. Narda comes to the Prachetas after they've been doing their austerities, right?
He gets around, doesn't he?
He gets hurt. This is Daksha's forefathers, you know, like he took his first birth as, I guess, their forefather, and now he's taking his second birth with them as he's born back into the same dynasty. And Narada went and he met the Prachetas. It said after practicing yoga asanas for mystic yoga, the Prachetas managed to control their life air, mind, words, and external vision. Thus, by the pranayama, secret pranayama process,
Secret pranayams.
they were completely relieved of material attachment. By remaining perpendicular.
What?
Straight back, I would assume, sitting up straight. I don't. By remaining perpendicular, you know, I guess they're, you know, like some yogic meditative asana. Yeah. Like at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, 90-degree angle.
By remaining perpendicular, they could concentrate their minds on the uppermost Brahman. While they were practicing this pranayama, the great sage Narda, and then it describes him, Sur Asura Idya. Then the great sage Narada, who is worshipped both by demons and by demigods, came to see them.
Yeah. Even Kamsa liked Narada.
That's my point here, Raghunath. So then Prabhupada writes in the commentary, he says, the great sage Narada travels everywhere. He goes to the demons and the demigods and is equally respected. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
He is consequently described herein as Sura Suraidya, worshipped both by demons and demigods. For Nārada Muni, the door of every house is open. Although there is a perpetual animosity between the demons and the demigods, Nārada Muni is welcomed everywhere. Narda is considered one of the demigods, of course, and the word Devarshi means the saintly person among the demigods. But not even the demons envy Narda. And again, when Prabhupada uses the word envy, generally he's meaning like hostility, right?
He's sort of like Switzerland, you know? He's like, hey, I don't want to fight anybody here.
This is a beautiful thing. I think what Prabhupada says right here, Raghunath. He said, but not even the demons envy Narada Muni. Therefore, he's equally worshipped by both demons and by demigods. And now here's Prabhupada's mic drop moment. A perfect Vaiṣṇava, perfect bhakti yogi. A perfect Vaishnava's position should be just like Narada Muni's, completely independent and unbiased. Very interesting. We need, you know, there's different roles and things, you know, that we need to play in this world. And sometimes those roles require us to favor one party over another, and, you know, on one level, or I don't know, favor exactly what I'm looking for, but like our responsibility goes particularly to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And we have to, you know, yeah.
Like certain people on the show favor you above me. Certain people on the show favor me above you.
Since then, I've become your enemy.
Mara, who do you favor? Tell me now.
Even like, you know, just even in business, you know, like I want my business to increase, and it means consequently I want to take the customers from another business person, you know, in politics, in business, in sports, wherever, you know, even just in caring for your family.
Whenever you have groups of people together, you're going to have some little subtle politics going on.
But there has to be somebody in society, right, that can just float around. Yeah. Completely independent and unbiased. You know, it's funny because even within I remember when it was too, Raghunath. It was not this past January, but the January before, when we were in Colombia. And it was at that time that we had one nugget. It was like a comedy nugget. We should go dig it back up.
Comedy nugget? Who said it?
I forget the name of the comedian.
Oh.
But it was kind of like a conversation between two Christians.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm Christian. Oh, I'm Christian too. Oh, great. You know, are you Protestant or Catholic? I'm
And
Protestant.
all
Me
these like
too.
details were they
Yeah,
exactly the same
yeah,
except
they're like
one thing.
10 details. And then when they got to the most finest of all finest details, you know, then that's where they were no longer in the same camp. And the other person said, "You heretic," and he like threw him off the bridge or something. It was something like that.
Right.
Right?
Well, you know what it is. I think what makes the common denominator in this is the people that can float between both sides. They have no ego. You know, and everyone sort of doesn't feel intimidated by them. Once you come in with your ego and your agenda, and this is what I believe, and this is what then everybody's getting defensive. But Narada
yeah.
cruises on in, and he's talking. Oh, yeah, okay, this is what's happening, and okay, and
See, because he's got
disarming,
this
huh?
Samadvam. He's also got the Samadarshana. He sees the soul accompanied by Paramatma in every living being, and that's you know that's what I wanted to get to, Raghunath, was within religious institutions. Sometimes it's even within the institution where the people are closest. When even there's a slight difference, it creates high level conflict. And you know, Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur,
Yeah.
he created an institution called the Gaudiya Mat, right? It was
Yeah.
like it was an institution of followers of Sri Chaitanya.
Yeah.
Right? And when he passed away, very quickly, that one institution shattered into many smaller mutts, right? Smaller monasteries, and even within even within a holy place like Vrindavan, those monasteries are often at odds with each other. Different opinions, different ideas, different, you know, it's conflict. And there was and amongst Prabhupada's god brothers, there was one, Kinchana Krishnadas Babaji, right? And he was just like, he was kind of like a Narda, you know. He was just very deeply absorbed in kirtan and chanting, right?
And had no ego about
He had
him.
no agenda, no ego. He Radha Swami writes about him in The Journey Home. It's some beautiful passages there, because that's one of the sadhus that impressed him so much when he first went to Vrindavan. And it said that he would, rather than live in one of those monasteries, he would kind of like go from one to another, move around, like Narda. And one time, one of them became really upset with him and like, you know, you're bouncing from here to there, and you're just, this is all just your ego. Somehow and he was like, he just took it like, yes, finally someone's understood me.
Yeah, it's my ego.
He
Thank
had
you.
When there's no enemies within, you can't even see an enemy without, you know, like this person's attacking him, he's not
That's
even
nice.
feeling
That was
attacked.
good. I like how you tied that in. Good.
Yes. So no, this is Narda. And so my point that I was making earlier, and your point is valid, that just because you're like that doesn't mean that nobody attacks you. But my point is looking at this way, that even the demons respected Narda.
Right.
Still,
You're not bothered by it.
yeah, and it's still no. But I'm saying it's not even that the demons were attacking him and he wasn't bothered by it. The demons respected him. The demons, even the demons said, Narda's a good person. I like him. My door's open to him. He can come on in. I trust him. Right. But this very religious, Vedic religious person, Daksha, saw Narada as an enemy, was hostile towards him, and now he's just reeling off a series of accusations and insults. Right? So somehow there was some pride in him, in his religiousness, that blinded him, because the demon doesn't have that, you know. Like, but it blinded him so much. So let's hear what he has to say. And you know what? I'll bring up one other thing, Raghunath, before we start to read today's verses. Why don't you read today's verses, and I'll do this as part of a recap. Why don't you hit the
Text 30.
shlokas.
Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesh vabhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay.
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6. Canto
Just a
6,
little-
Chapter 5, Text 39.
Just a little recap. A story's been told in this chapter, right?
Yeah.
Look at that gratitude.
See that gratitude? Oh, thank you, dear. She's so good. Mara is the best, I will say. I'm going to give a shout out. Sometimes they get a little
Mara.
playfully grumpy.
It's a
She's
little
so-
haughty sometimes, but
I'm haughty. I'm haughty. One day she's going to be like, you know what?
you want haughty? I'll give you haughty.
No, Mara's the most supportive person I've ever
She
been around.
is very supportive. She's good for
And
you.
she's
right
not a
now.
pushover. You know, just because she's,
Mm-hmm.
soft and supportive doesn't mean she's a pushover. She's like a powerful woman.
No,
but
she's
she-
got those. She boxes and she's got those knitting needles, like always. So, we've been hearing the story about how Narda, how he, the influence that he had, how he redirected, the sons of Daksha, one batch, then the next batch, and then Daksha is very upset about this. But if we go back to text 22, there's just one verse. It's kind of different than all the other verses because it's kind of like the other verses are just kind of moving along in a what do we call it when like a story's in a progression,
linear, chronological,
in a linear progression. Thank you.
progressive.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's one verse that's dropped in there that's just kind of like I love. I just find it interesting when you look at a chapter like this, and this verse just got dropped in. It almost like as if they took it from somewhere else and just put it in here just to kind of get our mind in a particular place, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a verse that just started glorifying Narada. It was only one verse. All right, shall we read what it said?
Yeah.
This
All
text-
the
text 22.
that-
Are you even listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What were you reading? Are you reading text
yeah.
22?
Well, you know what happens is
What?
Mara moves the things around, and I read whatever's at the top.
Oh, yeah, but I wasn't asking you to just start reading. I was talking about this verse that came earlier.
Yes.
Okay,
The
do you wanna
7
read that verse?
musical notes, Saragama Padani, are used in musical instruments, but originally they come from the Samaveda,
That's right.
right? Of hymns, I am the
Samaveda.
Gayatri. Ha! Gotcha!
That's cheating.
Of the Vedas, I am the Samaveda.
Okay.
The great sage Narada vibrates the sounds describing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. By such transcendental vibrations, such as Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Nice.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he fixes his mind at the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus, he directly perceives Rishikesh, the master of the senses. After delivering the Haryashvas, Nārada Muni continued traveling throughout the planetary systems, his mind always fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord.
So Prabhupada added a lot to that translation. He put in the whole
entire
thing,
mantra.
the Sama thing. He put the whole Maha Mantra in there. If we look right at the verse itself, it says Sarva Brahmani Nirbhata Hrishikesha Padam Bhuje. That Sarva Brahmani in spiritual sound Nirbhata. He placed his mind deeply in spiritual sound, right? He's singing his songs. That's what he does all the time. Hrishikesha Padam Bhuje, and that fixed his mind right at the lotus feet of Hrishikesha, of Lord Krishna, right? So through spiritual sound, he fixes his mind on Krishna. And then it says, Akandam Chittam Avesha. Akanda means unbroken. Chitta means his consciousness. Avesha means engaged. It situated him in a state of an unbroken state of devotional consciousness. It's his type of samadhi, right?
Mm.
He's not a struggling yogi trying to fix his mind. He's a perfected yogi whose mind is always unbroken, firmly attached, fixed on Krishna through his music. And then it says Lokan Anucharat Muni. He travels through all the different, all throughout the universe, at spreading this vibration. That's a description of someone who's achieved the goal. That's someone who's, again, he's not a practitioner trying to achieve a yogic state. He's not a religious person trying to properly execute rituals and be dharmic. He's there.
Right.
But Daksha can't see it through his eyes because he doesn't understand what bhakti is. He doesn't understand pure devotion, pure love. He only understands religiousness. He only understands morality. He doesn't understand that these are all means to the higher goal of divine love. And so even when he sees a beautiful, perfect manifestation of divine love right before his eyes, he actually feels threatened by it and criticizes it and even just lashes out against it.
Right.
And so that's what we're hearing now. He's saying everything that he's saying is just totally backwards. But he's kind of digging his own grave in a way.
By the way,
All right.
in defense of Prabhupada and the translation, sometimes junior detectives will say like, well, I'm no Sanskritist, but junior detectives, right? I'm no Sanskritist, but Prabhupada added all this extra stuff. He does not say the Hare Krishna mantra in the verse. I don't find it there. This is what I want, the real translation. I got news for you. He gets the entire picture. That's why he's putting it in there. Just like if I said, go to the airport tomorrow. Last night, I went to the airport last night. If you actually know the entire thing, why is he going to the airport? He's going to the airport to pick up his son. He flew into Bradley. You got to go through Massachusetts. Then you got to go to Connecticut. Prabhupada seeing the bigger picture does add stuff to verses, not because he's trying to misconstrue it or add some sneaky stuff, because he sees the bigger picture of where this is all going.
And he wants to make sure we get it.
And that's what the Acharya does. They see the bigger picture and then they add, they take the liberty to add to assist us on the path. Otherwise, if you do a word for word translation, sometimes the reader will get a little bit lost. We'll get a little bit lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that hermeneutical explanation.
You're welcome, Herman. Herman, the hermeneutist.
Herman and the hermeneutics.
Text 39. All the devotees of the Lord, but you are very kind to the conditioned souls and eager to benefit others. Although you wear the dress of a devotee. I thought they all did. Right? What was he wearing? Jeans? Right. Although you wear the dress.
I think specifically this may be the saffron color, or maybe of a renunciate.
Right.
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
Wranglers. Although you wear the dress of a devotee, you create enmity with the people who are not your enemies, or you break friendship and create enmity between friends. Are you not ashamed of posing as a devotee while performing these abominable actions?
Oh.
Text 40.
Prabhupada writes in the commentary.
What?
He says, in this verse, the word Saurida Knam, a breaker of friendships is used. Because Nārada Muni and the members of his disciplic succession disrupt friendships and family life, they are sometimes accused of being Saurida Krinam.
Yeah.
Creators of enmity between relatives. Actually, such devotees are friends of every living entity, Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. But they're misunderstood to be enemies.
Yeah, some parents didn't like me because I got their kids into bhakti.
Yeah. Well, he says preaching can be a difficult and thankless task.
Yeah.
But the preacher must follow the orders of the Supreme Lord and be unafraid of materialistic persons.
Sorry.
Prophet, sorry.
My kid dropped out of college.
All right.
It's now Shelter's roadie. You know who we're going to get on the show? Mikey Prema. Not the new Mikey Prema, the old Mikey Prema.
Old school Mikey Prema.
Very interesting story.
What's his name now?
Was it Mahapramavesh?
Okay. All right, text number 40, Rabbi.
Text number 40. Okay. Prajapati Daksha continued. If you think that simply awakening these senses of renunciation will detach one from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, simply change.
Could you say that again? Because I think you said senses instead of sense, and I think it.
Okay. If you think that simply awakening the sense of renunciation will detach you from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, simply changing dresses as you have done cannot possibly bring detachment.
Now that's a true point, isn't it?
He's making good points here.
That's a solid point.
I'm going to have to side with Daksha.
Yeah, we're gonna going back and forth here.
What
But,
Vedic authority do I listen to?
Yeah, if you think that simply awakening a sense of renunciation will detach one from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, you see, naturally vairagya, detachment, it's a simultaneous manifestation with jnana, with knowledge. When I understand what the nature of the material realm is, when I understand clearly, you know, the nature of the relationship between the sense objects and the senses, and how happiness is not found there. You know, when I fully understand it, then naturally I become detached from these things. When my sense of self is awakened, then naturally I let go of all the artificial external stimulants. They don't mean the same thing. And if I give them up without that understanding, then that's a potentially precarious position, right?
Yep.
It can manifest in all kinds of problems. And we see sometimes when people renounce artificially, they crash.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. What Daksha didn't understand was that what Narada had actually done was he had awakened a sense of devotion in them. Right? That's what a pure devotee can do. They can say the same words to you and read you the same text that you've read already. But when it comes from them, when it vibrates from their heart to yours, you receive it in a whole different way, and you're moved. So the renunciation that was manifest by the sons of Daksha, it was inspired by devotion. It wasn't an artificial renunciation. Prabhupada writes, he says, in summary, unless one's knowledge is awakened, renunciation cannot take place. For without elevated knowledge, one cannot give up attachment for material enjoyment. But this is the most elevated knowledge, this knowledge in the context of devotion, right? This knowledge which is favorable to bhakti. And that's what Narada delivered.
You know, we need high caliber devotees in our life. We
We
need
definitely do.
we need a community, we need friends, but we also need high devotees in our lives to just see, oh, the bar is there. I thought the bar was like around here
Yeah,
by my
exactly.
knees, and I thought I was doing pretty good on that
I was
bar.
stepping right over it.
I thought I was stepping right over that bar. We need to see those devotees to keep that bar high.
Yeah.
In not just like a disciplined way of regulations, but in a way of bhakti, a way of the heart. And then we'll be like, okay, now I get where this is going. And we need that on a regular basis. We need to check in with devotees who keep that bar high.
It's so true what you're saying, Raghunath. Yeah, and you know, again, that's part of what's being illustrated here in this. You know, you could look at Daksha and say that guy's got his act together when it comes to spirituality. Look at him. Look how rigid he is.
Rigid.
You know, it's like this guy's for real. Nothing. You know, but actually, it's Narda who's the example here. Who's the one that we're meant to understand from his example. And with Narada, look at how they treat others. That's always going to be a big clue. Look at how they respond when they're attacked. That's another big clue, right? Narada's not turning around saying, "No, what I did was right. You're the jerk here. You don't know anything. You don't understand anything, Daksha. All the demigods love me. Even the demons love me. You're the only." You know, he could have. There's none of that from him. Even he's going to get cursed by Daksha. Still he bears no animosity towards Daksha. Right? This is the clue of the high level devotee right there. You know, he has no enemies.
What do you think about that, Mara? High caliber devotees.
in our life. That's what we need.
Yeah, it's important. I feel blessed that we know a lot of great souls.
Yeah.
We're gonna say, what about me?
I was waiting for her to say me, but whatever. It's okay. You just keep knitting. Keep offending.
I'm gonna be.
How about some appreciation right here? We're gonna have this fish in. He threw out the line. he reeled it back in. There's nothing on the end of it.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Text 41.
Yeah, lucky we know some people who occasionally might come
Occasionally,
into
every
our
now and then
life.
we get to meet people like that. I feel very fortunate that
I feel
on special occasions I get to associate
special
with someone like that.
occasions. I'm like here dancing around the room.
High caliber, right here. Okay.
Text 41. I set you up for that one. Material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is.
Oh, okay. So
He's speaking the truth.
He's got a theory here, yeah, about
Daksha
how
is-
one becomes detached.
Right. Daksha is he's laying down some truths.
Maybe not the full truth.
It's partial truth. That's
Partial
the
truth.
problem with partial truth.
It's
You
not
know, they say the
completely true.
devil tempts with half truths. Ever heard that
Oh.
one? Isn't that a good one? The devil tempts with half truths.
Where'd you get that one? Your mother?
My mom.
Devil.
You know what I say to that? Not today, Satan.
Okay. With your half truth. Be gone.
Your
Fie upon you.
Fie upon you, Satan. He's the great tempter. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain. You laugh at that. He is. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment.
Okay.
Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment while simultaneously advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material happiness.
Mhm.
Then, without help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestable. Though, isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
That's and thoughtful people
Partially
who
true.
cultivate knowledge will
Yeah.
detest enjoyment. Those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced as those who have personal experience, right? Such pleasures, as the Gita says, such pleasures have a beginning and an end.
They do.
What's that, 5:18 or 5:19? Bahunam janamamante, jnanavamam prapadyate, vasudevam sarvamiti samahatmanda. No, is that the wrong verse?
No. What is it? Yeah, he's some sparsha job.
Yesham Sharcha, but
It was a great verse you quoted. It was totally
It
wrong.
was another great verse in a different context. But Raghunath knows a verse. I just keep quoting that same one again and
It's a
give
great
different. The wise do not take part in the sources of misery,
Yeah.
which
Such
are due to
pleasures
contact with
arise.
material senses.
Yeah.
Such pleasures, and you put your quotation fingers up.
Mhm.
Such pleasures have a beginning and an end. So the Krishna is saying they're not even pleasures; they're actually the source of misery. Why? Because they come and go.
Right.
They don't last.
Right.
Such pleasures have a beginning and end. So the wise do not delight in them.
You know, Raghu, it's my theory. I don't know of any acharya that said this, but it seems clear to me.
Seems like you're trying to set yourself up as the next acharya. Continue. Continue. Uh-oh, he's listening. I'm no acharya here, but this is what I say. The acharyas don't agree with me, but hear me out.
I'm not saying they don't agree. I'm just saying it seems to me that the second chapter of the first canto of the Bhagavatam, everything's laid out, and then the whole rest of the Bhagavatam stems out of that. Everything can be tied back to
You know
that.
what? That is sort of, I think I'm going to have to agree with you
Okay.
on that one.
All right. And so what Daksha is saying here, and I think we can end with this verse and maybe read the commentary tomorrow on this verse. But Daksha is saying that if you actually want to become detached,
Mhm.
you actually have to enjoy first, you know, and then you enjoy first and then you suffer. And through that suffering, you become naturally detached. You don't become detached by just letting go of everything and walking away from it.
Mhm.
That's the theory. There's some truth in that. I mean, there is a whole Vedic system designed for that kind of thing, but the fullest truth is spoken text, first canto, second chapter, text number 7, Vasudeva Bhagavati. So, why are you going right back to Sarvam? You're right back in that other verse.
Bahunam Janamamante.
Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga
Bhakti Yoga
Prayojita
Prayojitaha.
Janayat Yasu Vairagyam Gyanam Chayadahoitakam. That when one renders bhakti, when one practices bhakti, when one is absorbed in bhakti, through bhakti, one renders service unto Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Person. Then jnana and vairagya, knowledge and detachment, they automatically, they come immediately. They're like, I'll read the translation. It says, by rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. The things that the Gyanis work very hard to get, or that the karmis, like Daksha, they're saying, first enjoy the world and then you'll lose a taste for it. What's being said here by Sutta Goswami at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, he's saying that through love, you would naturally become detached from the things of this world. If you actually love God, it's not artificial, it's entirely genuine, that you lose your taste for these lower things. And jnana and vairagya, knowledge and attachment, you don't even have to focus on them. If you just focus on the love, they just come with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Narada's business. That's what he's doing. Daksha can't recognize it.
Keeping the main thing.
Yeah.
That's Narada's specialty.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is another show in the can.
In the can.
Is that what you don't say in the can? What do you say?
That's one for the books.
In the books.
Maybe?
In the books, in the bag, not in the can.
Don't
That's
put
a
it in the
bad
can.
word. Let's keep it out of the can, actually.
Okay. Maybe a jar.
Keep it in a jar. All right, Mara, takeaways
what
for
you got?
today. What little chunks of wisdom do you have that we can take with us?
Uproot the internal enemies.
Brood it.
Let the world love or hate you and stay even-minded.
There you go. Love me, hate me.
Love me, hate me, even-mindedness.
Our real enemy is the mind and its negative programming.
You
That's
got
right.
to know who your enemy is. The enemy. Who's that?
I don't know. Is that supposed to be the Sex Pistols?
DOA.
A DOA. Okay.
Oh, Karen Franchi. Even Jesus has haters.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is a good one.
That's good.
Have spirit positivity.
Spirit positivity. Thank you.
That's right. Spirit positivity.
You got to think of everything.
Awakening full knowledge goes hand in hand with renunciation and detachment.
That one
Too
must have
long
come
for
in
a
right at the
t-shirt.
end.
Too long for a t-shirt, but we like it.
We need high caliber devotees in our life.
Yes,
like
we
Raghunath.
do.
Like
Yes,
Raghunath.
we do.
Even
Yeah,
Jesus had haters.
Boom.
did.
Boom.
Thoughtful people detest temporary enjoyment.
Spit on it.
Poof. Be like Nārada Muni, independent and unbiased.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And
That sounds like a good news network too.
Impartial news with Nārada Muni.
Narda, independent
Fun.
and unbiased.
Real journalism.
and
And?
And?
Daksha attempts with half truths.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, you call him Daksha the devil? Is that what's going on here?
Oh, that's an offense. That might be an offense.
He's not the devil.
Daksha's not a devil.
Oh, look at
Devil
Karuna.
tempts-
She's
How about the devil
enthusiastic.
tempts with half?
Huh?
Not today, Satan. The devil tempts with half truth. Thanks everybody for joining us on the show. A lot of people came in the door late, didn't get to say good morning. If you get here early, I say good morning to you, and in some cases I give you a name. And then you're stuck with that name. Parmananda jumped in. Fireball Parmananda. I don't think I said hi to Kylie Brown. And Henry jumped in. Look, Henry's walking through the airport.
Oh, wow.
He's on his way. Thank you, everybody. Everybody's coming around for the Wisdom of the Sages retreat. We're going to do live questions this weekend. Karuna's on her trampoline.
Oh, yeah, she's bouncing
Karuna,
around.
why don't you come visit me? I got a big trampoline for you. And You might know more shlokas than Tarun, but he knows backflips and front flips. He can teach you those. Speaking of Tarun, we got to take this kid to school.
Oh, what time is the show tomorrow? 6.
What time is it? Wait a second. You're here. Tomorrow's Friday. Yes. But, tomorrow's a day off, though. There's no
The thing
school.
hasn't started yet tomorrow.
All right,
tomorrow
6
morning.
a.m.
Want to do 6 or want to do 8? It's up to you.
Can we do 8? Can we do 8? And let's do 8. Tarun doesn't have school tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's do 8
That
o'clock.
means you could do 6.
You know why I'll get regulated again. I've been doing my japa early.
Okay, so
Do
8
o'clock.
tomorrow?
8 o'clock tomorrow, people.
All right.
Zoomers.
Oh, look at Karuna. She's bouncing around over there. Blow that up. Yeah.
You know who's real close now?
Who?
Me and Papa Tony.
You and Papa
Me and,
do it like
me and
that.
Mara's dad. Me and Mara's dad.
All right.
I love him. Love this guy.
Papa Tony.
Timothy Tucker says, thanks again for the best way to start the day.
Thank you,
Aw,
Timothy.
thank you, Timothy Tucker.
Mara, what do you call Papa Tony?
Papa Tony.
You call him Papa
Why do
Tony?
you call him Dad? Is that weird?
That's weird. That is weird, Mara.
Call your dad. Hey, what's up, Tony? Oh,
Well, why
I
do
don't
your
want my
kids call
kids
your
calling me.
grandmother Grandma Terry? Why do they
well,
just
I
call her
call
Grandma?
I say Grandma Terry because I'm talking how the kids would say it.
But I'm saying, why do they even say it? Like, they don't just say Grandma because they have 2?
Well, you get lost in the many grandmas in people's lives.
There's so many.
I know we never get.